what we have here today are two models from two different companies, and one is from AutoArt and the other is from Motorhelix. Now I'm going to give you 2 seconds and and only 2 seconds to tell me which one is which, and then put in the comments if you get which one is correct. I can tell you that is very difficult no matter how many angles that you might look at this. So this one here is the Motorhelix, this one here is the AutoArt version, and the similarities are uncanny. They are very similar models. There are some differences, and some of those differences may sway you towards one model versus the other, but I'm just here to tell you about it. Let's go ahead and take these and get a much closer look. Here we are at the front end of both of these models. The one on the right is the Motorhelix, the one on the left is AutoArt, and both of them have very nice perforated grills up front with that Nismo printed on the intercooler. You can see the two front horn assemblies on the Motorhelix. The two are present on the AutoArt. They're just black. This front, it's one of those side markers. The front of the AutoArt are tinted, whereas the Motorhelix is a clear lens. If you compare the headlight detail, they're basically the same. The biggest difference is it seems like the AutoArt's lens is a little, the shade of the lens is a little bit different than the Motorhelix. The Motorhelix looks a little more clear, but again, both of them have very good headlight detail. If you look down, you have this front lip here, and on the AutoArt it is a more or less a flat or satin color for the, or finish I should say, for the carbon fiber. On the Motorhelix, it's definitely a much more gloss to that. You can see the reflections there. It's actually really nice. AutoArt, Motorhelix. If you move to the back, you have the AutoArt that's on the right, Motorhelix on the left. And the first things that stands out to me is that the Nissan emblem on the Motorhelix is a flat, probably a decal. On the AutoArt, it's an actual small piece assembly. You can see the shadow there on it. You have the GTR, you have this nice little keyhole there, and that is a separate piece as well. You have the prominent skyline, and then you have the Nismo Z-Tune. If you go over to the Motorhelix, has the same print, looks about the same. GTR is present there, and then again you have the key mechanism, and I'd have to say the AutoArt looks, it's definitely more prominent on the AutoArt. You can even see the indentation in the metal or the composite material. Some more detail on the Motorhelix lens than the AutoArt. You can clearly see that. If you look down further, you can see the heat exchangers for the Motorhelix. The AutoArts are there as well. You can see the anodized blue there. That is also on the Motorhelix as well. See, there you go. Just looks like it's a little bit further down. That's there. The exhaust tip is definitely nice, deep, and hollow for the Motorhelix. The Motorhelix has a tint to it. I'm assuming that's supposed to give it a look as if it was actually used. The AutoArt's clean. Nice little anodized look to it. You have the Z-Tune license plate, very similar. Underneath the trunk of the Motorhelix, it's nicely appointed. I really do love the hinge work on it. It is very stable and sturdy. The AutoArt is as well. It's pretty much the same mechanism that's used for both of these models as far as the hinges. And the flocking inside is pretty identical. So no surprises there. Not much there's typical decent detail underneath both of the hood lids. Now we're getting to the best part, or my favorite part, and that is the engine detail. Now I can tell you, if you notice, the AutoArt hood is a little bit lower than the Motorhelix. I am using the prop that comes with the Motorhelix. This is attached, and it helps it up. This AutoArt comes with a prop as well, but it seems to be standing on its own. And even with the prop, if I push it as high as the Motorhelix on the AutoArt, it feels as if I'm bending something. So I'm not too comfortable doing that. So I'm going to leave it the way it is. But both of these engines are so detailed. I mean, there's just so much to see here. Digging close into the AutoArt, there's so much to see here. I really like the tubing. You can see the Nismo on the tubing. If you look there, and there, and down there, it's everywhere. And then I also like that there is decals with information as well. I like the realism of the fluids here. That's something new I've noticed with a lot of the newer AutoArts, where they'll have that look like a true container, which is really nice. And I say that because if you go to the Motorhelix, it's white, and obviously the AutoArt looks much more realistic. Now that's not to say that there isn't anything or any advantage to the Motorhelix. There's tons of it here as well. Again, you have these decals, you have the Nismo print all over the tubes, you have this Nismo cap. Now let's go back to the AutoArt. Does it have that? It does have the cap, it's just a lot smaller. You have the decal with the information there. You have the electronics, nice GTR written there. Go over to the AutoArt, same thing, just a different shade. You have the carbon fiber on the strut tower braces. You have it there on the Motorhelix as well. Motorhelix definitely looks more realistic when it comes to that. I know that there is a carbon fiber pattern that looks like that. I'm not suggesting there isn't. You dig deep, you can see the dipstick on the Motorhelix. You see the intake with go back over to the AutoArt. Same thing. The tube on the AutoArt looks like it's darker or it's black, but it is present there. I do not see a dipstick with the AutoArt. Let's go back over to the Motorhelix. Yeah, you have that dipstick right there. Other than that, it's pretty much the same thing. You have the Z-Tune on the strut belt tower. Brace. Lots of hoses and lines in the background over here. I like the different colors that are used for the caps. There's just so much here. Let's go back over to the AutoArt. Same thing. You have the cap there. Seems like there's just a little small minor details that are added to the Motorhelix that the AutoArt does not have. But the AutoArt is not too shabby by any stretch of the imagination. Now the radiator, it does have this shroud over it. This is a carbon fiber piece, as you can see. There's that horn, it's silver for the Motorhelix, and then you also have the fans in the laying on the or sitting next to the radiator. Go over to the AutoArt, same deal. I just wish that this horn was silver like the Motorhelix. I like the way that it's prominent through the mesh grille in the front. And it does have a carbon fiber piece here. It is that same molded plastic carbon fiber look, whereas the Motorhelix has this nice glossy piece. There is a decal right there by the lights on both sides. That's not present on the AutoArt. So there's these little minor differences with the two models, and they are minor. Diving into the interiors, this here is the AutoArt, which is very well done. The gauges on the dashboard are fantastic. They are very concise and clear. So are the pedals. All the aluminum pedals, including the floor stay, are very nicely done. There is a Nismo floor mat as well. You have your shifter, your handbrake, well-appointed seat. You do have a seat belt there, and the seat belt does have a buckle, just to let you know. So it is a true stitch seat belt. If you move over to the Motorhelix, it's almost identical. Again, you have that very nice white face gauges. You have the foot pedals. Now I do have to say, the foot pedals on the Motorhelix look outstanding. Those look like, those are photo etched pieces, and they look the part. Those look fantastic. Let's swing back over to the AutoArt. AutoArts are not bad, but they do not compare to the Motorhelix. Steering wheel for the AutoArt. Steering wheel for the Motorhelix. Here's the rest of the dashboard with the GTR. Handbrake, shifter, seats, and just like with the AutoArt, you have a seat belt with a buckle, and it is a true stitch seat belt. So there's really not that much different, with the exception of the pedals to these two cars. There's the door card. It has all the necessary switches. Again, this is the Motorhelix. Swing over to the AutoArt. Yeah, an AutoArt door card definitely has more detail. Same switches, same GTR, same shifter, same handbrake, stitch seatbelt. Yeah, not that much difference between the two. Floor mat is present on the Motorhelix as well. As I scroll through these, there are some subtle differences. Start with the back here. So you can see the gas tank on the AutoArt is black, and I've never really paid attention or seen the underside of a Skyline, but I'm assuming that it's supposed to be this color. In other words, it's aluminum, as like 99% of all the gas tanks underneath cars are. You do have the fuel pump and the fuel pump lines. Same thing for the AutoArt. You have it there as well. You have these parts here. Again, not sure exactly what they are, but they're almost identical. It's a molded piece, obviously, that's not fully there, but it has some depth to it, so it does give it some kind of sense of definition. If you notice here, these coolers here, and one is the diff, I'm assuming the other one's possibly the transmission, but there's two coolers back here. So if you look on that angle there, there you are. So you can see the two coolers there, and they're present on the Motorhelix. But the interesting thing is that the Motorhelix, just for aesthetic reasons, or just, yeah, more for aesthetics than anything else, they cut these short, knowing that the most important view would be the underside when somebody's looking at the back of this model. Whereas the AutoArt, they actually have theirs at full size. It's a very subtle little thing. Again, so you have this here, which has some color into it, and on this side, it's just molded in a mold color anyway. So it's just these small things. The shocks on the Motorhelix, they're red. On the AutoArt, they're black. Just gonna make a good assumption that this is a little more accurate. But overall, these are just small, minor differences. As much as I can appreciate the Nismo on the exhaust, which I'm very sure is accurate, and the discolorization of the exhaust tip, I actually like the AutoArt's better, and only because it looks more like a metal piece. That's the only reason. But I really do like that Nismo raised print on it as well. It's moving up further. The exhaust is not discolored at all. AutoArt made theirs a more bronze color, as you can see there. Front suspension looks almost identical. The brace on the AutoArt is silver, so it looks like a metal piece. On the Motorhelix, it's black, but if you look, the black is actually a different color. It's a different shade of black. So that's their way of saying, yeah, this is metal. No, we didn't just make this simply cheap and make it a molded piece. It actually looks like a separate piece. I like that. I actually think that looks better than what AutoArt did. Interesting. And the final thing is this front, this engine cover, I should say, on the underside of these cars. So AutoArt used a molded plastic piece to mimic the carbon fiber, whereas Motorhelix actually used a tampo print decal, which obviously looks more like the real thing. It has depth to it, whereas the AutoArt's very reflective, but again, it's not really the, I don't think it's ideal. I like the Motorhelix better. I think most of you agree. The other thing that the Motorhelix can do that the AutoArt cannot do is that this cover here, cover is removable on the Motorhelix. So you do get to see a little bit more than what you do on the AutoArt. Is it worth it? Not sure, but you do get to see a little bit more. Well, I hope you enjoyed that comparison. As you can see, there really wasn't that much different between these two models. Now, the Motorhelix material, the outer shell is made out of metal, so it is a true metal die cast, whereas the AutoArt uses that ABS material. So there is that difference. The weight of the two are almost similar, believe it or not. So I definitely think there's some extra ballast, probably for structural reasons as well as weight, to the AutoArt version. But the thing that really distinguishes the two models are definitely just the finer details. The carbon fiber on the Motorhelix is definitely better than the AutoArt. The headrest on the Motorhelix actually has a Nismo print on it, where it's missing on the AutoArt. The cover underneath the diffuser is removable on the Motorhelix, where again it's not on the AutoArt. So it goes back to these finer details. The overall finish on both these models is really good. The Motorhelix has the AutoArt beat just because it seems like the clear coat is just a little bit thicker, which gives you that depth when you look at that paint under the light on the Motorhelix. But again, both of them very good, very identical. Now there is a price difference between the two, and I think it has more so to do with the additional accessories that came with the Motorhelix. The Motorhelix prices around, and this is an average price, it prices around $300 US. That is on the low end. I've seen them almost as close as $400. And also keep in mind, the Motorhelix has been out for almost 3 years. The AutoArt you can find at the low end about $210 US. And again, I think the price difference has to do with the Motorhelix coming with a spare motor. It also comes with the engine lift, and the panel underneath is removable, so you do have these extra accessories. Believe it or not, when the Motorhelix first was introduced, like I said, almost 3 years ago, it was actually $274 US, but I don't think anyone really caught or bought those at that price because this was in the middle of COVID. We had the supply chain issues, so the price ramped up very close to the $300 range and more back then. Please like and subscribe. That is the best way I'm going to know you're enjoying these videos. I appreciate your time. Next time will probably be a Spotlight News, and after that I have a very special model. Stay tuned for that. See you again.